how I love New York City. Beautiful 31st Street. The rules are not simple. I was mentioning them on Reddit. This guy was giving me lip, all mad that it's not a true Cannonball Run. The goal to make it as fast as we can from the Red Ball Garage to the Portofino Hotel, cashing along the way. Once you hit a state, you must cash in that state before you can move on to the next state. You can't sneak into New Jersey once you leave the Red Ball Garage. You gotta stay in the confines of New York City. And for diagonal states, that Utah, Colorado, Arizona, and New Mexico, you can't go diagonal because your body at the diagonal point would hit one of those other states and that would mess things up. So you gotta go along a straight border. California, the last place to cash. Go to the Portofino Hotel and wrap it up. So cheer me on. Let's get it done. I don't want to come back to this 31st Street again. I love New York. I've been here 3 times. I used to live here. But it's time to get in the car, drive. We're going to start focusing on sleep and get this whole thing done. So cheer us on. We appreciate the support. Just cashed top 5 in the nightly here at Wind Creek. They wouldn't let me do a winner's photo, so you're getting this video of me outside of Wind Creek saying we just cashed here in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and we enjoyed our time here in PA. We are here in the great Carey state of Ohio. Before we get started, please subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. I'd really appreciate it, and I hope you enjoy the video. So we're driving from Bethlehem to Pittsburgh, where my dad lives. Gonna try and get a quick nap in Pittsburgh. And then I think I might try and make it over to Columbus tonight. All right, Dad, thanks for the place to stay.
You're welcome. Good luck.
All right, we're in a rush, so we'll talk to y'all later.
Bye.
Thank you for traveling the Pennsylvania Turnpike. Thank you, Pennsylvania. And here we go. Ohio! Welcome to the heart of it all. Ohio! There was this guy on Reddit who said that what I'm doing is not a true Cannonball Run. He's like, Cannonball Run is all about getting from the Red Ball Garage to the Portofino Hotel as fast as you totally can. Slow Cannonball Run. I plan to start a super slow, maybe 45 to 60 day cannonball with Red Ball and Portofino Hotel as the start-stop points. Yippee-ki-yay, 33:45. This is not in the spirit of what a cannonball is. This not being a run to make the trip in a decent time makes it not a cannonball, but just another road trip. Comment below, what do you think? Yippee-ki-yay or Papa Poker? Whose side are you on? Is this a real cannonball? Left my father's house at like 5:45. Need to be at Hollywood Casino in Columbus by 9:25. Right now the GPS says 9:03. Again, we need some gas. We could have gotten there quicker, but every route from my dad's house near Pittsburgh International Airport went through West Virginia, so we had to take 376 up to the airport, or sorry, up to the turnpike, hop on the Pennsylvania Turnpike and shoot over around North Lima, Ohio, so that we didn't have to cut through West Virginia and need to cash in a poker tournament in West Virginia. But this feels like a Cannonball Run, where we're trying to get to this casino by 9:25. We need to register for a card and sign up for the tournament and figure out how to park and figure out where all these things are. We got a lot to do, very little time. I could have skipped this tournament, slept really well, but it just felt like I could make this tournament just before the rebuy period ended. So we're on to Columbus. We're over halfway to Columbus, and I almost died again. Like, literally. Now this is like 2 traffic deaths almost in less than a week. Obviously, the more miles you drive, the higher the chance you get in an accident. Almost hit a moose. Dived out of the lane in the last second the other day. That was late at night. Now it's like 7 p.m. Behind an SUV in the left lane, and I'm trying to get around this SUV, so I moved from the left lane to the middle lane. I just couldn't see around the SUV. All of a sudden, there's a truck, a tractor trailer, stopped. Maybe it wasn't stopped. Maybe it was going 5 miles an hour, 10 miles an hour. I don't know what it was. I moved right. There's a giant truck stopped in the middle of the road, or moving barely. I was just focused on driving, not listening to anything, just driving. I swing right, giant truck, swing back left, live. So crazy. So be careful driving across the country. Let's hope that those are our 2 near-death experiences. No more near-death experiences. Number 1 goal is to live. Living is the number 1 goal. Jeez. Wednesday, October 30th, 7:15 p.m. Hollywood Casino, Columbus, Ohio. $200 to enter, $10,000 guarantee, 40,000 starting stack, 20-minute levels. Breaking out the Columbus Blue Jackets, Sergei Bobrovsky. We liked him with the Flyers. Obviously played with the Blue Jackets at one point. Did well after his Blue Jacket career, but we rock Sergei. We'll model it, and then we'll run. Drove nonstop from Pittsburgh, rolled into Hollywood Casino in Columbus just a few minutes before late reg about to close. Yet again, the last person to enter the tournament. Obligatory 800, 1600, 1600. Middle position calls the 1600. Over to me in the cutoff. Pocket 2s. My very first hand. The rebuy period's almost over. Raise it up to 4,800. Button folds, small folds, big blind folds, the initial caller folds. And just like that, we're up to 45,600. Obligatory 1,000, 2,000, 2,000. This is the first hand after the break. Under the gun isn't even back from the break yet. Under the gun +1 raises it up to 4,000. Over to the hijack, call 4,000. Small blind folds. I'm in the big blind. Pocket 10s. Let's go. Now, how do we tackle this? We've got 2 people already in for 4,000. Let's just run with these 10s. All in. We push all in. Let's go. Everybody folds. We'll take it. We'll take it with 10s. And we finish the hand with 56,000. Obligatory 1,000, 2,000, 2,000. Folds around to me in the small blind. This is the second hand after the break. I look down. Pocket 8s. Happy birthday. Raise it up. 12,000. The big blind takes some time to think. All right. What's he got that he's thinking up against my 8s? And the big blind folds. As he folds, he flips over pocket 2s. We could have used a call there. Never mind. We get our 8s to pick up some more chips. Obligatory 1,000, 2,000, 2,000. It's the fourth hand after the break. The hijack, 35,000 in chips total, and calls 2,000. I am in the cutoff. King, queen off. All right, this guy's just limping. Let's raise it up. Raise 8,000. Folds back around. And the original better reluctantly calls the 8,000. All right, flippity floppity. 2 of clubs, 4 of diamonds, 5 of clubs. The hijack checks. All right, still looks like he is struggling in this hand. Let's bet again. Bet 12,000. We put the pressure on, and the hijack folds. We are hot, hot, hot. What a way to start this tournament. Obligatory 1,500, 3,000, 3,000. We're in the big blind. Action over to the middle position player. He raises it up to 6,000. All right, back to me. Big blind. Ace 9 off. That's good enough. Let's defend. We make the call. Flippity floppity. King 3, 8, rainbow. All right. We called, we defended. We've got a high ace. There's only one king out there. Let's keep going. Bet 7,000. Middle position, now trying to figure out what to do. I can see him go through all the emotions. He thinks about folding. He thinks about raising. And then he ends up just deciding to call. All right, the turn. 9 of diamonds. All right, we feel a little bit better about a 9 coming versus the air on that first bet. Bet 12,000. Middle position doesn't take as long this time. Thinks for a second, and then he calls. And now the river. Ace of spades. That's got to be a good card for us. 2 pair, let's go. I push all in. We are all in. And middle position just starts shaking his head. Maybe that ace, I don't know if that ace was good for me or not. He shakes his head. He says, nice hit. And then he folds. And we take home the pot. What did he have? Maybe a king? I mean, after the 7,000 on the flop, what was he doing? Maybe he had a king. I don't know. We take the pot home. Obligatory 2,000, 4,000, 4,000. I'm in the big blind. Early, mid-action. Fold, call, call, call. Small blind completes. Over to me in the big blind. Pocket nines. Let's go. Let's weed down this field. Raise it up. 20,000. Fold, fold. The button calls. The small blind folds. And we are up against one opponent. That's what we wanted to do with that big bet. Let's go mano a mano. Flippity floppity. Queen of spades, 8 of spades, 3 of spades. Yikes, that's a lot of spades. All right, we raised. Everyone else called. Let's continue. Bet 35,000. Over to the button. The button started with like 200,000 in chips. He hems, he haws. All right, just fold. I'll take this pot home. I'll be very happy. I'll be content. No. He pushes all in, and he's got me covered. This is my tournament life. And there are a lot of spades out there. I do not have a spade. Yikes! What to do? Now I'm hemming and hawing. I am so mad. I feel like Katniss Everdeen looking at the bow and arrow, and PETA just shaking his head. Don't go for it. It's certain death. We need to keep our tournament life alive. There's so many ways we are behind. So mad, and I fold. Now, trekking to the future, I talked to him later in the night. Before he went home, he said in that hand he had ace of spades as one of his cards. So he was one away from the dominant flush, and that's why he was able to push all in. Obligatory 2,000, 4,000, 4,000. The hand right after that spades hand. So we are now way hurting as far as chips go. Under the gun, calls 4,000. Middle position, raises it up to 12,000. I'm now in the small blind. Action on me, look down, pocket sixes. All right, let's call. Pocket sixes, call. Let's get a flop and see what happens. No such luck. The big blind folds. Under the gun player just called. Now the under the gun player all in for 58,000. Yikes. I wanted to see this flop. What's going on? Too rich for the blood of the middle position. Middle position folds over to me. What's this guy got? My pocket sixes are up slightly against ace king, ace queen, right? He just called. Oh, under the gun players are always strong though. You'll always have to watch out for them. I'm not totally sure what I am thinking. All in. I make the call. Pocket sixes. Let's go. Ace, what do you have under the gun player? We show our cards. Under the gun. Pocket eights. Oh, like a dagger to the heart. We show our pocket sixes. Yikes, we're in trouble. Flippity floppity. 2 of hearts, 3 of diamonds, 6 of clubs. That's why I went all in. I knew that was coming. Yes. The turn, queen of spades. The river, queen of diamonds. And we take a big pot home, double up. Let's go. That's why we folded that spades hand. That one would have been bad. This one would have been good. Just call when you know the flop's going to hit you. All right, who knows? What a double up. Obligatory 2,000, 4,000, 4,000. Fold, fold, playing six-handed. I am the cutoff. Look down at ace-6 off. Really the bottom of my raising range, but okay to raise. Let's raise it up. 12,000. Button folds, small blind folds, big blind playing 70,000 in chips. Big blind folds, and we take home the blinds. Obligatory 3,000, 6,000, 6,000, playing six-handed, folds over to the button. The button just limps in, makes the call for 6,000. Small blind completes. I'm in the big blind. Pocket aces, 2 red aces. We will take this as a big blind special now. What you're typically supposed to do, 3x raise, 3.5x raise. That's the standard play. Standard play never stopped me from being cute. I raise it up to 14,000. Button, cheap enough to call. Small blind, cheap enough to call. And we've got 3 of us headed to the flop. Flippity floppity. 10, 6, 3, rainbow. Small blind checks. Again, now with aces. Don't want to be playing multi-way. Need to thin the field. I love trapping. I'm sorry, everyone. I love trapping. Check. All right, so we check, and we are hoping that the button will continue in some fashion. We don't want to be giving up a free card here, and the button bets 6,000. All right, a small bet. Small blind fold, so that was enough to clear out the small blind. Now, I raise it up to 12,000. Again, we've got the button in this hand. I could bet more, but I'm still trapping. I'm trying to trap this guy. We've been playing weak the whole hand. Let's see what happens. I'm the big blind. The button pushes all in, 120,000. That is what we were looking for. We make the call, and we are flipping them over. I've got pocket aces. We're up against 6, 7 suited. I like the look of this. Here's the turn. The turn. Jack of diamonds. That's good news. The river. 8 of spades. What a double up. Obligatory 4,000, 8,000, 8,000. We're on the button. Middle position just calls. Middle position starts the hand with 150,000 in chips. Folds around to me in the button. King, Jack, clubs. Suited Broadway. We love the look of this hand. We should raise, but we are getting closer and closer to the money. I've got a big stack. This is strong enough to play, but I don't want to get involved in too big a pot at this point. So we just make the call. Playing extremely tight. Small blind completes. Small blind has 200,000 in chips to start the hand. Big blind checks. Big blind also has 200,000 chips to start the hand. Flippity floppity. Jack of hearts, 9 of spades, 4 of clubs. We get top pair. All right, let's go. The small blind checks, the big blind checks. Middle position bets 8,000. So min bet from middle position. I am totally supposed to raise here. Again, the field is thinning. We're getting close to the money. I'm playing tight. I just call. Small blind calls, big blind calls. And we still have a lot of people in this hand. The turn, ace of clubs. Small blind now checks. Big blind checks. First to act middle position also checks. All right, I'm ready for a free card. My top pair has been downgraded. I check. And the river, queen of clubs. What a card. Whoa. Playing tight. I can't mess up this hand. All right. Small blind leads out for 20,000. Big blind folds. First to act middle position folds. Of course, we are betting. We are raising. What to raise here? Now, we could be looking at a smaller flush, and then we want to get a lot of money in. I don't know. The way that this was played, I don't think the small has that. We're going to raise it up. Raise 60,000. And now the small blind starts playing the hand back in his head, thinking it through, and he pushes the chips in and makes the call. I flip over the flush. He shakes his head, really pissed, shows the ace of hearts, and we take home a nice pot. 66 total entries in the tournament. Top 6 got paid. Nothing really exciting happened at the final table. I was just sitting around waiting to cash. I was a big stack, waited for a couple small stacks to get knocked out. When we hit final 4, proposed a chop, 2280 for the top 3, and then 2,000 for 4th place. So essentially came away with like 2nd place money, and on very little sleep, that was not bad at all. Achievement unlocked. Update from Hollywood Casino in Columbus. Just entered the nightly. $2,280. We got the big check here. Hollywood Casino, Columbus. A pen play destination. Jason Patton. We chopped it top 4. 66 players. Finished top 4. And an awesome fun night of poker. Hollywood Casino, Columbus. Oh, woo. I was debating whether to drive to Columbus. I was tired. I drove through the night from Wing Creek to my dad's in Pittsburgh. Then realized you can't drive through West Virginia. You got to go up and around, adding another half an hour to get to Columbus. Woohoo! So we got here. Late reg was like 9:25. I think we were in the tournament by 9:10, so maybe 5 or 10 minutes to go before the break. Raised the very first hand, went from 40,000 to 46,000. This was a deep stack tournament, but there was one time where we got really down. Could have gone all in, but in the back of my head said, keep your tournament life alive. The next hand doubled up, a couple hands later doubled up. And we were chip leader there at the final table for quite a bit and just hung out for the chop. I am deliriously tired. I slept an hour at a rest area here last night, an hour at another rest area, maybe 2 hours at one rest area. Went to my dad's, slept for an hour, then had to do a call, talked to my dad for a bit, slept for another hour, and it's like, I can go to Columbus, I'll make it. 3.5 hour drive, no stops. And this tournament, we just rocked and rolled. Had a good feeling. Met several fun people, which was really fun. So Columbus was good to us. We flew into Columbus today. It looks like we're off to Louisville tomorrow morning, maybe tomorrow afternoon. Gonna sleep in, get our bearings. There's no tournament in Kentucky tomorrow morning or afternoon. The first tournament's at night, so we gotta pick the casino. But, whew, everyone was super cool. Obviously, it's super cool when you're winning. You're in a really good mood. I did have a couple slices of pizza. I meant to have Wahlburgers, but Wahlburgers was closed due to technical difficulty. The pizza people were super cool. Had a couple slices of pizza. My trash was hanging out there, but I kept winning with it on my table. And then the guy came around and he's like, oh, I got to clean this up. I was like, please, can you not clean this up? And he's like, why? And I didn't want to tell him, because if you tell someone that you're keeping, and it's not trash, but my leftover pizza stuff, if I told him it was because I was superstitious and things were going well, that would have like canceled out all the superstition. So, I mean, we started here over the weekend, banged out New York, Pennsylvania in 2 days, Ohio in 1 day, and really I have no right in finishing Ohio today. It's such a long drive. I had to go around West Virginia. So this is a great pace, and hopefully we'll remember this positive momentum, because I'm sure we're going to run into a challenge here at some point. So 3 states done. We can get across the U.S. in 9. 33% done in less than a week. Now we got to go to Kentucky and see what we can do. All right. Well, obviously after all the smoke coming out of my ears in New York, left and right, this Ohio. Where's Drew Carey? Drew, where are you? Little known fact, Drew and I went back and forth on Twitter once, or X now, but it was back in the days of Twitter. So we'll have to shout out to Drew and let him know that we did well in his home state of Ohio. During the writer's strike, Drew Carey wrote, I deeply appreciate all the love and thanks. It's as with every dime. But if you really want to thank someone for those meals, thank Bruce Helford and all the Drew Carey Show writers. They helped make me rich enough to afford it. No writers, no dollars. Simple as that. Then Susan posted, could someone please translate it as with every dime for me? I'm usually pretty good at X speak. Then I posted, it's worth every dime. Autocorrect switched it. Supposed to be, it's worth every dime. Then Drew posted back, haha, see what happens to me without a writer? Whoop-de-doo, back and forth with Drew Carey. We're big fans of The Price is Right now. I was born in Erie, Pennsylvania, a stone's throw away from Cleveland. Hollywood Casino, we made the right choice. A guy at Wind Creek said, check out Hollywood Casino, check out Columbus. Top-notch room, $10,000 guarantee, chopped at top 4. There were 3 of us who were ahead in a small stack, so we took, that $22.80 was, we paid each of the top 3 $22.80, and then 4th place took $2,000. So we finished essentially tied for first. And I was tired. I was like, please, let's chop. I mean, I could have kept playing, and yes, essentially $22.80 was second place money. This was 66 people, paid 7, and easily made the 7. We were chip leader at that point, and finished tied for first with a chop. $8,842 chopped amongst the top 4. Walter took home $22.81 on the left. Chuck took home $2,000. I received $22.80, and Chase on the right got $22.81. All right, room 200, all the way at the end of the hall here at Hyatt Place, Columbus. That doesn't look like it's turning on. There we go. We're in. All right. Woohoo! The corner suite for the big winner today. Pour us a drink. We're at the good old Hyatt Place. This is a very well rated room and place. See me there in the reflection just a little bit. Got the nice couch. And we're ready to crash and go to sleep. Good night, everybody. All right, before we go to sleep, tonight's winnings: 22 Benjamin Franklins and 4 Andrew Jacksons. Woohoo! $2,280 in cash. Putting a dent in all of our expenses so far. Woohoo! At the end of each video, I include a P&L tracker of how I'm doing on the trip. Stay tuned for that. Now let's talk to Niall Farrell, Scotland's top poker pro and the inventor of this whole adventure. Niall, thank you so much for joining, and we'll get into why I was very interested in talking to you. But first, maybe can you introduce yourself and talk a little bit about you and then the world of poker?
Yep, I'm Niall Farrell. I'm a 37-year-old Scottish poker pro. And yeah, I guess that's it really. Yeah, I'm the number one money leader for Scotland, and I've been playing poker professionally for about 12 years now. That's bad. Well, yeah, so
How did
that's
you
me.
first get into poker?
Just like a lot of people found it at college, like university. Started playing a little bit online, was very, very bad. Lost my part-time job wages for a few months until I realized that you can actually get better at it. And by the time I finished uni, I was doing pretty well consistently and decided to give it a go professionally before jumping into the real world. And 12 years later, still going, so got pretty lucky with it.
Very cool, very cool. And I had the chance to meet you over the summer at the World Series of Poker, and I really appreciate you taking the time with me. That was just ahead of a documentary, The Four Rules of the Poker Kings. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so just at the end of COVID, basically when everything was starting to re-enter, I got a phone call when I was in Vegas from a filmmaker who's interested in making a kind of fly on the wall documentary about the poker world. And we got to talking and so on, and kind of long story short, we ended up filming a over 9 months, an hour long documentary for the BBC, about basically just a year in the life of a poker player. So it follows me to different live events, and you see the highs and the lows. And we got pretty lucky because I did explain, like, due to the nature of poker, it might just be 9 months of lows, but we got a couple of highs in there as well, which was good. And yeah, it was released October this year on the BBC iPlayer. It's like their streaming site, and hopefully it'll get syndicated across to the States and other countries at some point too. But yeah, it was an interesting 9 months or a year or whatever it was. I've never really done anything like it before, so just but I think it came out pretty well and it's been pretty well received, so give it a watch if you haven't.
And did the filmmaker live with you, or was he in a hotel down the road,
No,
or?
so he came to the house to do some filming for some of the families, the points, but mostly it was just on kind of location. So when I was out at the World Series, he was out for like 3 or 4 weeks. When we went to Monte Carlo, I think Poker Stars put him up in a hotel, which was nice of them in Monte Carlo because it's not cheap out there. Um, and same with like Dublin and Prague and stuff. So he was kind of just on location, and it was just a kind of obviously poker's very your time can be in flux. So it was kind of just if I busted a tournament really quickly, we'd go and do a feature somewhere or and things like that. But we got yeah, a couple of nice deep runs and a couple of heartbreaking moments, and then turning it around and stuff. So it was good.
Very cool. Well, that is maybe a very large scale version of something that I think you partially sent me into. I've never really vlogged my life before, and I've started vlogging some of my poker playing, and it all relates to this tweet that you sent. So I'd love to read it real fast
Yeah, go
and
for it.
then talk to you about it. So Neil posts on Twitter X, January 19th, 2024, Poker Amazing Race. Contestants start in Romania and have to make it across Europe to the UK. In order to leave a country, you must get a head and mob flag for that country. You can't skip a country. You travel however you can, Ryanair, train, car, boat, and make a vlog of it. Where did this idea come from? What's sort of the story behind this tweet?
It came from the same place that every good idea comes from. I think about 12 beers. It was, yeah, I think, personally, I think a poker site should employ me to come up with just feed me with beer, give me a very generous salary, and get me to come up with ideas. But it was kind of the main inspiration was kind of based on, I know Joanne Liu did a kind of provinces of Canada. It was a wee bit different for Joanne, so she was kind of going to play in different casinos, but I think she was playing cash. Um, so her kind of jeopardy was she had to make sure her bankroll lasted or whatever, and she had to go to all the different casinos and stuff like that. And that kind of thing really appealed to me. I thought that's, it's something a bit new. It's not, here I am at the casino, here are my hands. It was kind of, it was, and I thought it was really cool. And then I thought it'd be cool because I was happily tournaments. I don't play cash really at all. In the tournament version, you could have the jeopardy of you're stuck in the country until you cash the tournament or whatever, which would make it kind of, if you could do it, we did some talks and stuff like we could do it if it was a team of two or something. You could like supporting your friend on the bubble of the like 20 euro Romanian Open thing, or just try to get in the money so we can leave. We need to move, and it would bring up some good moments and stuff. Um, so yeah, it kind of just came from there, really. A kind of tournament version, and everyone seemed to it kind of for just I tweet so much rubbish, so much nonsense. It kind of goes out into the ether. It just whatever comes into my mind. But this seemed to people seem to immediately kind of pick it up. Stars really liked it, and Hendon Mob wanted to do something because obviously that's their kind of brand. But it just came from that really, and also I really like that kind of that fun side of poker, like the kind of traveling part and like getting the flag. Like I really like the flag hunting. Like whenever I go to a tournament stop in a country I've never been to before, I play everything. So I'm in the $100 freeze out at the start trying to get the flag. You don't want to leave without the flag in case you're never back. So that kind of stuff really appeals to me. So yeah, it just kind of came from there.
Well, I love it. And do you watch Amazing Race then, or are you an
I've seen
Amazing
it
Race
before. I've
person?
not. So there was like a kind of old version of it in the UK. I think it was the early 90s or the 80s that it used to run out here. I don't know if there's a current version in the States or anything. Maybe there is. But I remember it from my very early childhood. So it kind of just came to mind.
Well, there is still Amazing Race here. I may or may not
Oh,
have
cool.
applied a couple times to that show in my life, but I
Oh,
read
wow.
this tweet and I'm like, oh, I want to go to Romania. I want to do this. And then, of course, and Hendon Mob's jumping on it. And it's like, okay, well, I really can't take off my life and go to Romania. But the tweet definitely inspired me. So you should know that it did. And then the reason I have you here on the line is I try to make a US version of this. Now, we don't have necessarily Hendon Mob everywhere in the United States, but the rules I set up were a Poker Cannonball Run, where you start in New York City and you
Right.
finish in Los Angeles, and that's sort of a typical cannonball run here where you try and drive as fast as possible. And then the rules I set up were that once you entered a state, you weren't allowed to leave that state until you cashed a poker tournament.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's pretty
So,
cool.
so sort of copying this. Now it had to be sort of an official poker tournament, that anyone in the public could enter. There's not
Yeah.
always casinos wherever you go. Um, and certainly I'd seen Joanne Liu's thing that she's done in Canada, which is quite interesting as well. So just want to let you know that I've taken some time out of my life to do this.
Wow.
I think to get across the country, you can do it in 9 states. To go
Okay.
from New York to California the most efficiently. And I'll tell you, I'm coming off of New York already, where I've been trapped in New York for longer than I could ever imagine, which maybe
What's in
was
New
the part
York?
of your tweet.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like that's what I was saying. Like we were talking about the logistics of it, and it was like good chance we're just stuck in Romania for 4 weeks. Like I would not know how enthralling that would be. But what's New York? Is that Foxwoods?
Foxwoods is actually New England. So New York,
That's New
your
England.
two major casinos are going to be Turning Stone and Verona,
Okay.
and then River Schenectady and Schenectady. Now, there may be other casinos, but those are the two that hold tournaments. Another challenge about New York is they only have 3 to 4 tournaments a week
Right.
unless
Okay.
there's some sort of series there. Other states have them daily,
Yeah.
but New York is every couple days, and that's what's led to, getting stuck there, so to speak.
Yeah. Hey, the worst places to be stuck. At least you know. I won't name names. I don't want to get angry comments or anything. But you know, at least you're in New York. You can, you know, if you got a day off, it's going to be pretty fun.
So I've budgeted like a month and a half of my life. Now, 9 states, how long do you think? I've never flag hunted before. How long do you normally budget for flag hunting?
Oh wow. I think if you're being, you know, if you're doing what poker players do, which is usually, you know, try and optimize everything and be really strategic. So if you play it just to cash, you're not trying to win, you're just trying to cash. You could probably cash one in four times, maybe one in three if you're real if it's really soft, I would say. If you're just, you know, playing it like a satellite to leave the state. So, you know, not taking any risks on the bubble, not trying to accumulate chips, just trying to cash. You could probably do it one in four, because I think like on average it'll be like one in seven that you cash, one in eight, depending on the payout structure. Um, so yeah, maybe one in four, one in five. So I guess, you know, you can go. It could be like you could come into a state like it's going to be on average maybe if you've got one every day. I guess like every 3 or 4 days on average. But there can be, you know, you can play some of these daily. This is the magic of it. Some of these daily tournaments, you know, it's like local structures. You know, all these little casinos stuff. It could be like, yeah, half the field paid. Who cares? You know, like it could just be anything. I mean, I played an 11-handed poker tournament in Alberta. You know, like it could be anything. So the surprises kind of could add a day or take a day off, but maybe once every 3 or 4 days, or if you're pretty lucky.
Yeah, certain states have a couple a day too, which I think could speed things
Oh, that's
up.
great then. Yeah.
And then New Mexico is like my boogie state, where again, similar to New York, it's every once in a while they have a tournament.
Okay.
So we'll see if I get stuck in New Mexico or not.
Yeah, I can see that. Like, you know, 12 days in New Mexico, preparing it for it like it's the main event. You know, like getting ready, like we have to do it this time. Here we
I'm
go.
absolutely going to cash. Now, I'll tell you, coming off of New York, and I bubbled a couple times painfully, I think I am adopting that satellite structure, which is just because essentially it's hotel costs. Like there's so many things that add up
Yeah. Well,
that
that's
go into
it.
my EV decision. It's like I just need to cash no matter what.
Yeah, well, that was it. Like when I was thinking about it for Europe, it's like most places, if you're just country hopping, you can get a Ryanair flight for like $10. You know, it's so, or you can generally you can just hitchhike or do anything, you know, whatever you want. So yeah, you know, if you, I mean, stuck in New York's going to be a bit pricey.
Well, we really appreciate you taking some time to talk about this amazing tweet that sort of inspired this adventure of mine, and we'll keep you up to date on how it goes. If people
Yeah,
want to follow you on social media, how do they do that?
yeah. On Twitter at Firaldo87 Poker, and I'm trying to use the Instagram now, you know, to get, you know, to be hip and down with the kids. So that's just Firaldo. Yeah, that's the easiest way to do it, probably.
Very cool. Well, we appreciate you taking the time. This
Yeah,
is
not a problem.
so amazing,
I look
and
forward to
thank you so
seeing
much.
the finished product.
Thanks so much for watching. Let's close with the profit and loss tracker. We made a dent in the loss. Next stop, Kentucky. And if you could like, comment, subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. It helps me be able to make more videos like this for the channel.